The MoneroTopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
All right, Fat Chips Chris, what's going on, man?
What's happening, guys? I'm just recovering from that super chat. Just mind blown here. So
lots to ponder and think about.
Yeah, it's a deep one. Goes deep.
This show always goes very deep, very deep.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, no, I'm loving the chips, man. I'm loving everything about this. I'm, legit non-seed oil. Going back to the fats. We're seeing a trend there, right? Things getting cooked in tallow, and for whatever reason, that seems to align with like based crypto users as well. I don't know what that's all about. How did you become this guy? How did you become the base chips Monero guy?
Yeah, the Venn diagram of nerdy XMR guys and chips is a circle. So anyway, very cool to see people responding positively. Yeah, so I was in finance for years and found out about Monero back in like 2017, 20. When did Ross Ulbricht get sentenced? What year was that?
That was even earlier. I think that might have been like 2015 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I'm dating myself a little bit, but in college I heard about Bitcoin, and then when that happened, that was the kind of the whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here with Bitcoin? It's not what it's cracked up to be. And then shortly thereafter, I guess Monero launched in like 2017. That's when I kind of just got on my radar. And then totally unrelated to that, obviously, there's a trend, as you mentioned, toward eating what are more traditional foods and foods that are minimally processed, foods that are made with, if you look at the processes that go into just the basic snacks we're eating, it's like, a list of ingredients on the back of the package.
Like they're intentionally going out of their way to poison people, right?
Yeah, dude. That's
it's at the point where it's like you could be more competitive even and make more money. Right. I feel like if you offer the real alternative.
Well, totally. Yeah, there's a race to the bottom from a price perspective, but it's got to be, cheaper just to do the real thing at a certain point. And I totally agree. So my business partner, Eric, and I were at a social function party literally a year ago tomorrow. So this is our 1-year anniversary of the genesis of the idea for Fat Chips. And we were looking at the snacks that they had on offer, and we were just like, dude, I'm not eating any of this crap. And we started talking. We said, wouldn't it be great if there were alternatives? And lo and behold, we started cooking up independently. And, as you'll hopefully agree shortly, it's just a much higher quality flavor. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to make a delicious snack. Like nobody's going to eat, even if I don't think kale chips are good for you, but if they were, nobody's going to eat them because they taste like, cow patties. Right. So that's the genesis of Fat Chips.
I'm going to start to open these.
Here's the ASMR.
I am eating right now. I'm eating some pasture raised eggs with grass-fed beef.
Very
some
nice.
Avocado, some feta.
Yeah, that's what I eat.
Fat Chips is going to go perfectly with this. I can tell already.
It's the meat and potatoes right there, brother. So, very cool. Very cool.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Our goal is opening. And we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what you have to say. I'm nervous now.
Oh, yeah. That's real potato right there.
It is. It is.
Okay. There's a chip, guys.
There she is. Beautiful.
Amazing crunches, I'm sure you guys can all hear.
Yep. I'm feeling very vindicated so far. I'm waiting for the
it's that hand is automatically going back down for more.
Let's go. Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here. If you do think it's hard to not make a chip taste amazing if you're just using good potatoes.
Yeah.
And actually tallow, right? And some salt.
I totally agree. The counterpoint to that is that there are a couple of competitors that we have, and I think we're better, and I'm totally biased, but they've managed to squeeze, in some cases, not all cases, but a bland, unappealing kind of product out of what is essentially pure gold. So, I don't know what they're doing wrong, but
I think what's impressive about you guys are very crispy, which I think that's hard to do, right? Because
yeah. So, I mean,
moisture
I don't
to
have
build
any,
up in there.
my background is in finance, and I just learned how to cook. We've done the big focus for us was on the product, right? Like I said from the beginning, it's like we want to make the most delicious potato chips on the planet, and we want to use the best quality ingredients to do that. And that just happens to be sort of the same thing. But it's tough. It's tough to screw up until you're doing it in bulk, until you're trying to do it at scale, which is what we're doing now. And that focus on the product is huge.
By the way, this is like the one thing that Sunita has cared about since since the beginning of Monero and things I've been working on. She saw I ordered these. She's like, "You better not eat all the fat chips." She's not around this weekend.
Well, there's plenty online, of course, so people should check it out. And one thing
we'll order some fresh packs for her to.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Just, obviously the product is a much higher quality snack food. People are going to be snacking anyway, but when you're, shoveling in, flaming hot Cheetos, try our gnarlapenos instead and eat a much better, more satiating food as well. But from the XMR side, so I think it was Fiat Demise on X who reached out to me, and I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of Monero. Yeah, there's the gnarlapenos. There you go. And so shout out to him, shout out to the maker 1172 and everybody who's been so welcoming and encouraging to get involved with the project. And as I said, I'd heard of Monero. I wasn't, as active in the space. But I was like, oh yeah, of course. That's like the real Bitcoin, right? What Bitcoin should be. Awesome. And so I was like, yeah, we'd love to sell on XMR Bazaar. Got signed up. And we have a few orders on there. But my emphasis with this is, what's the value out of Monero as a product and as a currency? It's transactional. It's the limit of transactional friction. And that's what's so great about XMR Bazaar. You have to use it, guys. Like you have to use it. If you just, hodl your meme coins and you think of Monero that way, you're ultimately eroding the value. And there's this prisoner's dilemma problem, right? Where it's like, yeah, you guys should go spend your Monero while I hoard it. And it's like, don't play the short game, guys. The long game is transactions. And as a guy selling,
and the value of the network will go up, and the unit that the crypto itself will go up as we use it more. That's how it's going to grow in value.
Correct.
And what I do think that makes Monero unique is that there actually is a reason to use it at any point in time, and to not just wait for price to go up, because you do get value out of using something where nobody could see that you're using it, right?
Correct. Well, when I sell at the farmer's market, we do a lot of cash transactions. We offer,
right. If somebody's like holds up a credit card and be like, would you rather get me paying credit card or give you $20? You're going to take the cash, right?
Exactly. And the other part about that is the KYC stuff, the know your customer stuff. I don't know any of these people, and I don't need to know these people. They're good people. They've got cash. If they've, I don't know, done something illicit in their past, it doesn't matter because the cash they're giving me is fungible. And, when you looked at, that was the Ross thing. Once I kind of realized that this, Bitcoin is not fungible, I was like, whoa. Why don't I just broadcast my Excel spreadsheet of every transaction I've ever done in my life?
You had that realization back in the Ross days when
that was the moment. And as I said, I went to UCSD here in San Diego. Shout out, go Tritons. I was interested in it. We were mining Bitcoin very early on. And I remember that happening and being like, whoa, they just audited the blockchain and took this guy down and just stuck him under the jail. They gave him 2 life sentences in 40 years or something just heinous, just to make an example of him. And, again, I'm a legitimate businessman. You're eating my legitimate chips right now. I pay my taxes. I believe that ultimately, adhering to the law is what we should do. And we should work to change the laws if that's the way if the laws need changing, let's say, which in many cases I think they do. But, we've only got 20 minutes here. So how long should we go? But again, the point is, when you don't have freedom in your currency and you don't have that fungibility in your currency, you don't have an economy that you can rely on to give you goods and services, and to have that trust even between individuals. It gets eroded by this third party kind of overseer. So We have super bought into the
like
program.
you said, we need money to be fungible, right? Like when somebody's paying you for the fat chips and takes out a 20, you're not asking, well, where did that 20 come from? How do I know you didn't steal this from somebody else?
Right.
You can't even, right? It's illegal essentially to ask, right? Like it's just generally known that cash is accepted. It doesn't come with a transactional history.
Exactly.
We need that
it would
in
be
digital form.
impractical, impossible, and ultimately would erode the value of those tokens because they'd be dollars as tokens because they'd be traceable, et cetera, et cetera. So
I am now trying the jalapeno.
all right. It's going to come on. You got to stay with it.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Delicious. I probably like these better than the salted ones, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because of them.
Well, the salted ones, you figure, I mean, like, I don't know you guys, but I'll typically be dipping like my plain chips. Like, if you're buying like our, obvious competitors like Lay's plain or like Ruffles or whatever, right? So if you're buying those, you're probably dipping them in some onion dip or some other kind of salsas, that kind of stuff. But yeah, the gnarlapeno is just the standalone, get a little spice action, pair it with the sandwich, that kind of stuff. So,
dude, I love that you found your way to XMR Bazaar. That's such a good sign, right? that we're attracting quality people like you.
Thank you.
That get it, that are working on quality products for the right reasons, right?
Yeah. Well, I would just encourage
healthy food.
Other people, small business owners, first of all, just generally start a business. Like if you're listening to this, just even if you're not, whatever you're gonna do, find a way to start a business as a side hustle. Find a product, look around at a product. You're like, I could do better with that. We live in the greatest, economic system that's ever been devised. That obviously, I think we all would agree needs revisions. But at the end of the day, people adding value to the economy through their labor, through their focused efforts is what makes the whole thing go. Monero can be the lubricant for that process, which I think we want it to be. But again, I would just encourage entrepreneurship and getting out there and bringing your value to the market.
Wow, I'm really feeling the jalapeno right now. Actually, it builds quite a bit. It feels quite a bit.
I saw it when you had a couple more. I was like, he's about to feel it.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
And you guys are in an undisclosed bunker in the Northeast, presumably, right?
Yes, that is correct.
So you guys don't have the same. I'm from New England originally, but I'm here in the Southwest, obviously in San Diego, and you may not have the same built-up tolerances to that jalapeno. So just pay attention.
Yeah, no. I get plenty of that in my life. I'm married to a Puerto Rican Indian. So.
Oh well, dude, yeah, that's like the double whammy right there.
Yeah,
so very nice.
She's all about the spice. She's gonna be all about those jalapeno ones.
Love it.
I'm telling you
very
right now.
Good. Very good.
Yeah, man, and what's nice about XMR Bazaar too, that does seem to be the real product market fit is products like these, right? That like handcrafted, high quality things where it makes sense to buy it directly from somebody who's putting like the handmade soaps I made, best soap I ever used, right? It's also made with tallow, right? So it's like the Parmesan cheese I'm buying is coming straight from like small farms where the guy who's selling it is just like super into Parmesan cheese, like sourcing from the best farms, and like so there's like we're getting value out of the peer-to-peer thing. Like there is advantages to going peer-to-peer in addition to your transaction not being traceable and nobody knowing that you entered into commerce but you and just the other guy. There's just also added value in that you're dealing with people that are trying to sell like quality products, right?
Right. And the untraceability to me is like that should just be the baseline. I mean, I don't even really consider that like that's just like we've lost sight of that as being so important as like an underpinning for the economy. But free people doing commerce and business together has been what we've been doing for thousands of years, and that's what Monero is bringing back. But you're 100% correct. These small artisans, people listening, I know for sure that people listening create things, are technically inclined, have cool skills, can make a product, could, if they can't now, could learn relatively quickly, with their focused efforts, how to build a product that people would find value in. And if you like it, you know, you're a sample of one, of course, but there's probably some other guy who's like, hey, that's pretty cool. And that's what happened with fat chips. You know, we started cooking them, and you know, you never know until you get that first sale, right? I'm like, you know, I like them, but let's see. And then when people were like, holy shit, this is freaking great. And you know, you'd see people's faces light up. You know, even like I saw yours. I know you got the glasses on, but I know you're digging them, and you can't fake that. And that's real value. That's what that's what value is. And that's what economics, that's what the economy is supposed to do, is exchange value. And we have to just remind ourselves of that and bring that value to the economy.
100%, brother. 100%.
Love it.
So do you guys accept other cryptos on the website? You could buy fat chips through the website.
Are there other cryptos?
Nice.
You mean like
Nice.
USD? I've heard about this USD coin.
XRP, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, XRM.
So, but
no.
are you accepting Monero on the website for it? I don't even know.
Not directly. We have a link on the website. Then it's
To the XMR
bold. You'll see. Yeah, it just says buy. You know, if you go to the website, it's right at the bottom, the footer. I got a huge thing that says a big Monero logo, and the website's like, you know, a half a page long to say, and it's a link right to XMR Bazaar.
Let me bring it up. I'll bring it up right now.
Where we've got our listings.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Fat chips. There it is.
And if people want to do, hey, there it is. And if people, so right, yeah, scroll down a little bit. And if people, and it's on every page, of course, the footer. There's the Insta. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Beautiful,
brother.
beautiful.
Let's go. And if you guys want to, do, yeah, no, and we've got
very,
some great
very well designed. I
reviews.
love the marketing too, man. The design, the simplicity of everything.
Thank you.
It's very
Yeah, no, I
classic,
appreciate
vintage looking.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, it's that blend of like 50s. You know, we're entering a golden
Right.
age here, ladies and gentlemen, and we just got to buy into it. So let's enjoy, and let's be free and enjoy some delicious.
A potato chip is a simple thing at the end of the day, right? It's a simple, beautiful thing.
What it takes,
a good quality potato and some quality freaking tallow.
And I've heard that the Narlepeños especially pair very well with a nice cold frosty beer. So that's just a rumor, but I don't know. People want to try that out.
Is that what you're getting into next? Some home brewed?
No, it's so I live in San Diego, and as people may know, we have a pretty vibrant, you know, craft beer culture and this kind of stuff. And I've actually been happy that I kind of dodged that bullet and I went into something that is honestly that I like better, because the problem is, like, I eat these all the time and they're actually relatively healthy. I mean, we're still a snack food. I'm not going to, you know, pretend like we're, going to save the world with potato chips and solve, you know, the diabetes crisis, but it's a step in the right direction. If you're going to snack anyway, you might as well snack.
I would consider them, for my purposes, like a healthy addition to what I'm eating for lunch or whatever, right? You get a nice potatoes in my, you know, a lot of minerals, a lot of vitamins.
Agreed.
And a lot of good starch, and you know, if you're working out, these, you know, good way to carb up. And you get some,
and it's the healthiest.
Fats,
it's the healthiest fat too, and it's not. The other part about it is, which, you know, there's a lot of debate about what types of oils to eat. The bottom line is, when you fry with canola oil or other seed oils, it's going rancid. That's it. That's the bottom line. It's rancid. And we cook at about 310 degrees. And beef tallow is much more stable at temperature. It's not going rancid. And that's what's keeping that delicious crunch. You're not getting that rancidity kind of flavor. I'm telling you, that's why they over season their stuff, because it's basically rancid otherwise on your palate.
You know what I do eat every day, actually, sweet potatoes. Any thought into
yeah, we have
creating a sweet potato fry?
We've gotten some requests. Yeah, we will chalk that up into the next column. We love the idea of sweet potatoes. We have experimented with it, so stay tuned. The best thing you can do is buy more of our current products so that we can have the money to fund more products. That's all I'm saying. So
fair. Maybe we buy a couple of bags, I don't know, a dozen or so, bring them to PorkFest.
We'd love to.
Yeah,
no, we talked to, I think somebody reached out about that. But if you guys,
I think Aaron Day, I think, tweeted. He's the one that's helping me run the tent at PorkFest. We're doing that together. So cool. I think he's the one that saw you post, and he mentioned coming to, you know, getting chips at PorkFest.
Love it. Yeah, we just shipped. We've gotten a couple of decent sized wholesale orders recently that we're filling. Really? We got one for 136 bags on Monday, which is fantastic. So we could fill bulk orders if you guys wanted to do a larger order. We'll do wholesale pricing once you get over a certain amount. So just as I said, I'm happy to set that up. And you guys want to whatever you guys want to do. I mean, we're game.
It's awesome.
Fantastic.
Can't wait to. Unfortunately, I can't join Doug in the ASMR taste tests, but I know I'll probably get mine this week. So
yeah, and whatever flavors you guys want to recommend too, reach out to us on X. It's at Eat Fat Chips. We're on Insta. We're on. It's so funny too the response, because like you were saying, there is a little bit of a trend, Doug. Like for sure, it's people are waking up to the systematic poisoning that's happening in the food supply, to put it mildly. But it's a slow. We're still so early, which is so cool. You know, we just see people who, you know, still are like, oh, what even is tallow? They're like, is that some kind of a root? And I'm like, no, it's actually rendered beef fat, the literal opposite of a root. But really, that's why we're leading with flavor. You know, you can be a health food brand, and there's a 10,000 versions of health food, right? So while you think it's more healthy, I think it's more healthy. At the end of the day, it's just a more delicious potato chip. So let's start there and see what we can get people on board with.
How has XMR Bazaar been treating you?
We've done a few transactions. We're still super early. They've been about, I'd say it's about 20% of our transactions over the last. I'm just trying to think back. We did a pretty decent push at the beginning of May. We're selling on wholesale channels, and we're super dinky. I mean, this is, I got a mortgage and 3 kids. This is not paying my bills, believe me. It's a labor of love at this point. But yeah, we love the response from the community. Again, I believe that if you want Monero to succeed, you should turn Monero holding into Monero transactions. And we want to buy from suppliers, by the way. If you we've spoken to a couple people who are looking at rendering beef fat for us. We can buy tallow from them in Monero. We want to buy inputs.
There you go.
If you've got potatoes, we'll buy them. Like, hit us up. So
fantastic. Yes,
this guy ain't fucking around. He wants to actually have the Monero circular economy.
I love it, man. I love it. We found the right guy. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing, dude. So if like Fiat Demise hadn't reached out to you, do you think were you looking to accept Monero anyway? I mean, you sound like pretty Monero based.
I was not specifically at the time. This would have been like, I want to say, this was pre-sales. So we just kind of did a little, like, set up the socials, do a little post like, hey, coming soon, blah, blah, blah. So he must have reached out to me in like September, October last year, I want to say. And I was like, oh yeah. And at the time, I just had a new baby in last October. And so, and I've got, I've got a job and I've got, other things. And no offense to the crypto nerds, Doug included, but like, I love that you guys are doing this as a big focus of your time, but I just didn't have that, it wasn't what I was doing. And I just kind of rekindled the flame, and I was like, oh, wow, this is really, becoming what it should have been. And I had heard about it, et cetera. So no, I probably would not have sought it out. Like I said, we're focused more on going back to my previous point. It's like, I want to bring value, and then the means of that transactional, sort of that value exchange is where Monero comes in. But the same thing going, like, if we just hold, what happened with Bitcoin and what's happening with Bitcoin, and why is the project, in my opinion, doomed, for lack of a better term? It's because it never found a way to be transactional. They've focused on this store of value and blah, blah, blah. And even, the open ledger and all this kind of stuff, and the lack of fungibility, all of that stuff is like, those are just damning problems in and of themselves. But the real problem is that people don't buy it and sell with it. Snake Shack just offered it, and you have to calculate your realized gains on buying a burger. It's like, bro, I'm just not going to do that. So
Vic agrees with you. I am, in fact, a crypto nerd, 100%. I think it's pretty. I'm a digital cash nerd.
Okay, I
prefer anarchist, but whatever.
I just want to point out
when you're getting pedantic.
It sounds cooler, but I'm really just a nerd.
Actually,
dude, was it? Oh, did you hook up the messaging system on XMR Bazaar? Did you hook up like your Signal or whatever?
No, I'm just working right on the platform.
You should do that. It's super simple to do. If you use Signal or SimpleX
Okay.
session as well, but if anything, I assume you have Signal. Almost everybody
Yeah.
has Signal at this point.
Yeah.
In like a few clicks of a button, it will hook it up so that anytime you get a notification, so if somebody's DMing you or if they
Cool.
just placed an order, this way, obviously you're not sitting on XMR Bazaar, so it'll remind you like notification.
Hey man,
pop-up
what
on
if
your
I
Signal.
am? What if I am?
If
though?
you are, then that, by all means, you're a power user.
My kids are so skinny.
And we'll be adding boost soon. So if you want, you could boost your listing, and I don't think it'll be much, like $1 or $2, and it will get you to the top of you'll stay up on the top of the page.
Yeah, we love what you're doing with the platform. It's a very cool. It's basically much needed. I mean, it's essentially the way I've described it to some people has been kind of the Craigslist for Monero. Right.
Exactly.
And
it needs work. We're figuring things out as we go. Right now, my focus is just like getting people in, right? Like we jumped out of the plane and now we're building the parachute as we go down. So
I love that analogy.
Making it easier to filter.
Yeah.
Building the Monero economy as we propel to the ground.
It's much needed. And again, like I said, like the focus on transactionality. Like it's great. Like I was listening to the podcast earlier. It's great to see the charting analysis and relative values between Bitcoin and gold and et cetera. And like that's all like fun nerd stuff. But at the end of the day, that's one of the big problems. This is my own philosophical bent, but one of the big problems that happened with the global economy and the American economy in particular was this hyper financialization of everything, right? And this over focus on line go up economics. And if you lose sight of what is the purpose of an economy, the purpose of an economy is to facilitate human beings thriving. Okay. If you do not transact, you do not increase the thriving of the humanity, the project of humanity. And so again, I'm just going to proselytize that. Go on Monero, on XMR Bazaar, sell your stuff that's sitting around, make new things, buy them, sell them, buy my chips, tell your friends to sell me their potatoes and their, other inputs, etc. I mean, that's how you actually build value and wealth. And as I said, this line go up, GDP, blah, blah, blah stuff. That's the boomer paradigm, and we're leaving that, everybody. That's gone. So don't get too focused on that and go back to building and adding value.
And at the end of the day, that's pretty boring, right? If you're sitting around looking at a chart, be like, oh, did it go up today? It's gonna go up, and imagining the day it does go up or whatever crypto you're on. I mean, that's a pretty lame existence. Like participate, add value, build things, sell stuff for crypto, sell services for crypto. That's the fun part of life, not watching a chart, hoping things go up and, you one day can cash out. I mean, that's like, you might as well just be like hanging out and buying lottery tickets.
Dude, I wash potatoes and fry them. I mean, literally, like that's what I do. That's fun. That's engaged. I'm refining the product. I'm seeing people respond to the product. Yeah, I didn't go to college for this. I had another career where I sat in front of a computer and I was like, fuck that. I'm done with that nonsense. I like it. It's great. There's a lot of reasons to be in front of the computer, but if that's the focus of your existence, it's nothing like an existence. So especially to the younger people, I'm, just south of 40, but, especially in the context of this beautiful change we're seeing and this kind of collective realization that the older ways, the oldest ways should probably come back, and these more modern ways have failed us in systematic ways. Be a part of that change. Engage with value creation, and you can do it. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some work. But what else are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like sit on the couch all the time? Like, come on. Let's get going.
Vic is continuing to point out how much of a nerd I am. Doug is a civil engineer. This is true. Professional engineer, PE.
There you go.
Also a patent attorney, guys. I don't really talk. I don't file patents, but I am technically
Doug's
a patent attorney.
technically a patent troll.
No, I don't patent troll.
I do want to point out the emphasis on an excitement that Monero users have when they can buy a new product with Monero versus recently I just saw Steak and Shake start accepting Lightning in their stores. And I saw tons of people saying, oh, don't fall for that. Don't spend your sats for a burger. I'm like, do we just like lose the point? Like, what's the fucking point if you're not even going to use this thing?
It's exactly right, dude. It's the tail wagging the
It's
dog.
the culture.
Literally, like, hold the money so you can spend it at some potential future date when you're dead. Like, no, buy a burger, buy potato chips, buy, do commerce. That's what we're here to do.
Vic is saying he will be ordering when he leaves the gym. So Vic is basically looking to break even. He's working out and then eating potato chips thereafter. He's breaking even. No better way to re-up on the cows than with some healthy potato chips. If there was a healthy potato chip, I think this would be it, right? Just real.
This is the
real
one.
stuff.
Well, you're gonna snack. People are gonna have cheat days. You're not gonna just eat, whatever chicken and rice every day for your entire life. Live a little.
And this hodl mentality, right? That is the big difference between Bitcoin and Monero, right? It's the culture at the end of the day, this willingness to use it as a tool, right, for purposes of transacting. And it's just a difference in thing. Like, it takes a certain mindset to see value in that, I guess, and to not just see, to not be fiat minded, right? At the end of the day, that's being fiat minded if you're just constantly measuring your crypto in fiat terms and whether or not it's going up against the dollar and you're just looking to hold it. You see Bitcoiners basically complaining, well, okay, if capital gains tax didn't exist, then maybe we'd start spending it. And I agree, that certainly would help. There'd be a hell of a lot more spending of all cryptos. And we should hope for that, and we should lobby for that, and we should get that done. That should happen in the U.S. Crypto, especially for de minimis amounts, should not be getting taxed for capital gains, right? It's completely ridiculous. It's just holding back the tech. All that being said, in Monero, we may or may not use our Monero to buy certain things on a peer-to-peer marketplace, and we're not waiting for permission to do so, right? We're opting out, living among each other, because we know it's ethically, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Just like cash itself, people should be able to transact peer-to-peer with cash. They should be able to do the same thing with digital cash. And so that's really the difference in mentality between Monero people and Bitcoiners at the end of the day.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's that transactional friction that, when I give you $5 and you give me whatever I'm buying from you, see you later. We don't need to bring, it's that old Mitch Hedberg thing. You want this, you want a receipt for your donut. It's like, let's not bring paper into this. Just like, I'm on my way. And that's another thing about Monero, which has been, right now we've seen a little bit of price, increase relative to the dollar, which is fine. And that's what you're going to expect as people adopt, and different people are like, you talked earlier about the Bitcoin heist that happened, I guess 2 weeks ago or whatever. And then the guy's trying to exchange into Monero, as obviously he should, if he's smart. But at the same time, like, the relative price stability of the dollar over the last, say, 80 years or whatever is a huge, huge benefit. And the relative price stability of Monero is as well. You can't invest in something, even Bitcoin, dude, it has like a 20-30% drawdown, and people are like, oh, no big deal. It's like, guys, what are we talking about? Like, you can't use a currency that has that type of volatility baked into it. And so the relative stability of Monero is also a value to it, as a means of exchange. So there's a lot of good things going on with this, and a lot of intrinsic advantages. So we just have to leverage them. That's it. If you think about it like Bitcoin, you've got to rewire that.
Yeah. And what's nice about the fact that Monero is on, kind of detethered from the financial system is it does reduce a lot of the volatility. So on the negative end, we don't see it pump up because people can't easily ape into it. They can't jump on Coinbase and sell their Trump coin for Monero in 2 clicks of a button. They can't do it. It's hard to ape into, but it's also hard to ape out of it, right? They can't easily run and just sell all their crypto on an exchange. I mean, obviously there are some ways to do it. It exists on Kraken, but still, it helps. There's arguments to be made that by being disconnected, Monero becomes less volatile because it's, if you want to get it, it takes a little work to get it. If you want to sell it, it takes a little work to sell it.
The way to get out of it is to buy fat chips, just FYI.
Yeah. or you buy some land in Georgia, right? When you're when you're looking to buy something a little more than a bag of chips, right?
Yeah.
Like there's endless options at that point. So that point that is the dream. I mean, that's why I started XMR Bazaar, right? Like I want to be able to. Doug, when are you I'm like I'm never selling Monero. I'm using it, right? So today I'm using it for fat chips.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'm using it to buy a piece of property somewhere, or to buy whatever it may be, whatever I need.
Or a
at that point
car. I've seen cars listed on there, or motorcycle jacket I saw yesterday. It really is that Craigslist functionality and people being able to transact freely. That's the whole game. That's what we should be. It's what we should be doing.
We got an extra chart. Sheldon tipped $1.21. Doug, I'm visiting PorcFest, but only for 2 days because that XMR newbie is coming with me. So I would think that means you want to stay more than 2 days, but I hear you. With 2 days, should I go Thursday to Friday or Friday to Saturday? I guess Friday, Saturday. Friday, Saturday would be the time. That's like the real high pitch, right? So Thursday through Saturday are the top days. If you can only go 2, I'd come Friday and Saturday. And then Sundays, basically everybody goes home. So what do you think about this idea of like trying to get Monero relisted on exchange? Like I would like to see, despite everything we're saying, I don't know if you ever heard my whole take on all this, but I do think while I love what we're doing here with XMR Bazaar and, Havino and people getting Monero in the best way possible, KYC free and using it, I also do want noobs to be able to access it, right? Like they could access Fartcoin, but they can't get Monero, right? Like they've heard about Monero, they finally understand. Oh, that's pretty cool. How do I don't see it listed on Coinbase because it's not. All right, well you could download Cake Wallet, you could get some Litecoin on Coinbase, and then you can send it off Coinbase, and you can instant swap it in Cake Wallet, and like you could tell people do that, and that's all great. But I do think there's some positives to noobs being able to just as easily get Monero than any other crypto. And while they are KYC'd, at least they're now taking digital cash off the exchange versus taking some traceable crypto where they could be traced thereafter. But just curious what your take is. Is it do you agree with those points, or are you more extreme?
No, I totally agree. And I think the people who would disagree, I think you need to kind of remember that if you're facilitating privacy for the sake of privacy, that's kind of that's what's being questioned, or that's what's questionable. Privacy should be the default, the norm. I'm not breaking any laws. I mean, that I'm aware of. Obviously, I might speed or whatever once in a while, but I'm not a lawbreaker. I'm a upstanding citizen. I pay my taxes. I do everything to function in society. Now, again, I think that there are things that need to be reformed, and we should advocate for those things. But the answer isn't to try to become to make legitimate practices look like illegitimate practices, right? Monero is totally legitimate as a means of transaction. It's a means of value, sort of exchange and a value store. So why would we not be able to transact that on any exchange, even if there's a KYC involved? Again, it's like, I'm a legitimate person. I don't actually really mind if, like, when right now I'm talking to people out here who may be customers of mine. You know who I am. You guys can come see me at the farmer's market. I'm not a some kind of a weirdo, so to speak. And no offense to any of the weirdos out there, but at the same time, you can't kowtow to the fringe and expect to be adopted more broadly. You have to just come up and say, no, what we are doing is legitimate. There are legitimate ways to transact this, and we should be a part of all of these legitimate platforms. And there's no reason otherwise, in my opinion. So,
exactly. I mean, where you live,
like you, Doug.
What's that?
I said I knew I was going to like you, Doug.
Yeah. I knew right away too, man. I saw some of your Instagram posts. You guys look like you're chill dudes as well. Like you're enjoying life as you do these things.
You got it.
Yeah, no, once again, couldn't agree with you more. And where you live, I mean, you are able to go on Kraken. Here in New York, there is no way to even obtain Monero on a centralized exchange, and there's never been, which anybody who follows me, listens to me, knows that I think that's absurd.
Wow. Yeah.
But,
I didn't realize. I
right?
knew they had some draconian policies in New York for a lot of things, but
Right? Can you imagine? Monero's been cut off from day one. I mean, there's millions of crypto users here in New York. I don't know how many Coinbase accounts are New York based, but I'd say it's got to be in the few mil.
yeah, easy. I mean, what's the population in New York? 25 million people or more?
Yeah. I mean, New York City alone is like whatever, 8, 9 million.
Something. Yeah. Well, again, it just comes back to this is a legitimate practice, and we have allowed our ruling bodies and entities of bureaucrats who have no knowledge of this. They have no intimate knowledge of this. They just, push a piece of paper across and stamp it and say yes or no, without any legitimate interactions or investigations into the utility here. And again, going back to the matter of fact is, as a means of exchange right now with Bitcoin, at the shake snack thing, it's like, okay, I think it's a positive thing for crypto in general and for sort of, people in general, because, we do have to, calculate capital gains when we buy a burger. But the way that gets changed is by everybody saying, hey, what the fuck? I don't want to calculate capital gains every time I buy a burger. You guys need to fix this problem. And that's what should happen. And that's what hopefully will happen if we see that pressure. So, again, fungibility in currency is essential. That's what Monero offers, like no other token that I'm aware of. It's just a matter of free people exercising their rights. These are God-given rights. These are non-negotiables. We have, a draconian set of policies from certain government actors who think they know better, and they don't. And they're wrong. And they've been wrong for thousands of years when they've tried to squeeze people like this. And we just need to continue to make our voices heard and be honest and direct about what we're doing as legitimate people. And free people will always win out, in my opinion.
And it does seem like, Trump, whatever you may think of him, you think he's like legit, he's doing good stuff, whatever, I don't know. But it does seem like this would really very much align with what he's supposed to be about, right? Like let people use Monero, get rid of the bit license in New York. Let's make America the crypto capital. Let's make things more free market.
Right.
So that's why I do think maybe now is also the time to strike. And I mean,
totally
to be honest, if you look at the chart, Monero has gone up perhaps more than any other asset or one of the largest movers since Trump has taken office. So it's it's been a Monero friendly environment.
Yeah, Trump is a response. It's easy to especially people who aren't from the Northeast, like you're from, New York, you kind of probably get the Trump shtick a little bit, that half of it's tongue in cheek, right? Because that's how New Yorkers are. That's how they communicate. Yeah. And I understand that as well. A lot of people just are like, what the hell? This guy's a psychopath. And again, whatever. But the truth of the matter is he's a reaction. He's a reaction to a decoupling and a disconnection of an elite class, a ruling class, and its responsiveness to the people. This happened at the universities. It happened in government. But basically, they were put into these positions to steward and to help, again, going back to the purpose of the economy, to help people to thrive. That's what you're supposed to do, politicians. People are supposed to thrive. You are supposed to encourage thriving. People should be able to build a family, to be able to buy homes, to be able to buy and conduct business as they see fit. And free people should be able to do that and interact freely. And they completely forgot that. They decided to do what was in their own perceived best interest, both from a monetary perspective and from a disconnection from the problems of the working and middle class people. Like they don't have to, if you're a billionaire, you don't worry about making your mortgage payment. You've never even had to do that. You've never thought that way. And they just said, nah, you guys can just, let them eat cake to the middle and working classes. And Trump was the first guy who said, hey, listen, we should probably not do this. And people were like, wow, warts and all, imperfections and all, all of the stuff that he's done. He's crass and he's brazen and all this kind of stuff. They're like, we don't even care. He's the only guy who's like even pretending to give a shit about the working and middle class people and the entrepreneurs, like myself as an entrepreneur and myself as a taxpayer and all of the hundreds of millions of people who exist in that big section of the body politic who said, no, we've had enough. We've had enough being preached to. We've had enough being told that we're bad. And that stops. And again, is Trump perfect? Hell no. Does he have every policy? Is it great? No, hell no. But at the same time, he's advocating and he's doing what he sees and what many people see to be in the interest of humanity thriving, and that's what's made him win. So anyway, buy my potato chips. I don't want to get too political, but I mean, Jesus, you queued me up, dog. Sorry, had 2 cups of coffee.
If you're MAGA, you gotta buy his potato chips, and if you're not, you should still buy his potato. If you heard, it was a very well balanced opinion. I don't
Thank you. We got a pretty funny Facebook comment from this woman, and I loved it and posted it on X too. She said, "Right wing potato chips. Now I've seen it all." And I was just like, "That's hilarious." And truthfully, it's amazing because like I grew up. My mom's a super crunchy, hippy dippy granola lady, and she was broadly left wing coded forever, right? We used tallow and ate organic. That was always where the left was making their play, and now it's totally flipped. So I mean, I guess stupid is as stupid does.
Well, that was fantastic, man. I think we can leave it there. Obviously, we could go all day. We do on this show. We're gonna move on to viewers on stage. You're more than welcome to hang out. If you got to go, do what you got to do. You're also always welcome to come on any day if you want to come on, give us an update on things that are going on.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah,
greatly
likewise.
Appreciate what you're doing with the products you're offering and the fact that you're accepting Monero and you're not just some guy who's like, yeah, I'll accept Monero. And you didn't you obviously understand the value proposition. You're in it for the right reasons. So kudos to you, man.
Chris, before you go, I do have a question. If you've ever had considerations on maybe selling your product in like maybe local stores, because there's a couple that I go to that are very close to me, and I feel like they would have an interest in selling something like your chips, like beef tallow chips, because they have all of these other kinds of local brands that they sell. Obviously, California is not local to me. There'd be a lot of shipping involved, but
no, because they're right wing coded too. No, I would love to very much appreciate it. Obviously, after the show, I've got to get to drop my kids off and then head over to the farmer's market to make some sales this morning. I'm a very busy guy, but would love to. They can sign up with us on, I'll send over a link to you, Tux, to sign up with. There's a wholesale portal that we use where people can place orders. Obviously, if they want to reach out directly, of course, hello@eatfatchips.com. That goes to me, myself, or my business partner, Eric. We love to be, we are actually in a couple of stores. One in Utah, the other one's in Philly, that found us online. So we're shipping nationwide. And if people want to carry us in their stores, we would be absolutely overjoyed to have the opportunity. So yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah, maybe we get you in that supermarket in Astoria as well. I'm trying to get my coffee in over there on the next batch that comes in. So
Killer.
We could get those chips going over there too.
Yeah, let us know. So again, eatfatchips.com is the website. All our ats are eatfatchips on Insta and X. And then hello@eatfatchips.com for people that want to do wholesale inquiries or have questions about the product or anything, or suggestions for other flavors and stuff. We're working on a couple of other cool flavors that we're pretty excited about to launch pretty soon. But right now, buy them. We got some. Hopefully, Doug, you like it. What is it? 8 out of 10 at least. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, at least an 8 out of 10. I mean, you get extra points just because they're quote unquote healthy chips. But on flavor alone, just comparing it to a standard chip, yeah, I would if I had standard chip these, I'm going for these every time.
Hell yeah. Well, I love it. I very much appreciate it. Well, yeah. So but check us out on XMR Bazaar, of course. Eat fat chips. And it's the most delicious potato chips on earth, guys. You're going to be snacking anyway. Why not snack better?
Awesome, brother. Good luck with everything. And hope to see you around these parts. You're always welcome. Guys, go on XMR Bazaar, order them, taste them for yourself. It's a bag of chips. It's worth the experiment just for using Monero alone. Go buy some chips on XMR Bazaar.
Thanks again.
All right,
guys.
buddy. Yep,
So
we'll be in touch.
We'll
Adios.
do it again. Appreciate it.